el hospital.
Okay, we've leveled up and it is time to pick another language. Morfar tröttare än vanligt. Maten är färdig. And let's see what we're doing when we get back. Greek! We're doing Greek when we get back. Ben neredeyse her gün okula gidelim. Fun fact. Turkish. Hello, Shakespeare. How you doing? Fun fact, in Spanish, the word for bishop in chess is alfil. And that actually comes from Arabic. Fil. The same word fil as this. Meaning elephant, because the bishop traditionally was to represent elephant units somehow. Similarly, in Russian, the word for bishop is squad, and that also means elephant. Okay. 10-159. Haven't made a huge dent in it, but we're getting there. Okay, gonna do some Chinese now. Night. Night. Come on. Yen. Yo. 5. Ducks are drinking wine. Bambas. Bamba, okay, Bambas is duck. Okay, I have now leveled up. Let's see what the XP situation is now. 10,340 out of 12,500. And as always, viewers can choose my next language for me just with a follow and a $5 to my Patreon. I buy a computer or quack. And here's another example. I like to point these out. For this word for or sounds vaguely like Hogun in Hogun in Korean or Waku in Japanese, and that's because it is the exact same kind of character. Oh, I see. This is Dikhe Ishai Fui, which means do you want food? But yeah. Are you hungry? That kind of thing. How are the boys? Cocine da boy. Posso Milao. Pote. When is it? Proteine. Udros. Protopulo. In the designated chicken-eating area, obviously.
Liv. Monsieur.
See.
Livla. Liwe livla.
맞아요.
Yeah.
Sí. Vysoký. Matěji. Proč? Víte. Počkej. A. Si.
Oilen coginio panas.
Hey. That probably is good of seeing too. Yeah, that's okay. Alright, hello and welcome to Hyperpolygliding with Elise, where we are continuing the Duolingo Speedrun, trying to get to the top of Emerald League, and the current language is going to be Korean through the medium of Japanese. So I'm just kind of enjoying that. Also, Please note at the bottom of the screen, I have a new Twitter presence specifically for this channel. And you'll find that at the bottom of the screen. It says Language Elise on Twitter. You can follow that for all sorts of all updates, anything to do with what's going on here, or on the Hyperpolyglotting channel on YouTube. So, let's get stuck in, shall we? Hey, 電話を選んでください。その番号5の Ah, hey there, Ether Polyglot. Welcome. Last night we were doing Chinese through Japanese, now I'm doing some Korean through Japanese. And one thing to note here, Bonu and Bangu sounding similar is not a coincidence. It's the same Chinese characters, just pronounced differently, in a way that's predictable enough that you can significantly increase your vocabulary in Japanese as a Korean speaker or in Korean as a Japanese speaker just by noticing the phonetic shifts. Ah, 今電話に出られんとも言えるけどね。How are you doing today? Have you called Mom today? Did you call Mom yesterday? 昨日母に電話しましたか？私は毎日家に電話します。I call home every day, like E.T. Oh, well, congratulations. What was the job? 他の人はいませんか？ what kind of restaurant? ちょっとこれを見てください。Ah, cool. Well, that's something. Yumi wa denwa ni. Yumi is not answering the phone. 出ません。ちょっと電話番号を教えてください。I had a minor triumph today. It started to be soup weather, so I decided to make my traditional winter minestrone, but this time I decided to do it. Well, it's a lighter version since it's not winter yet, and that would be very heavy for this kind of weather still. But it's the first time I've ever done it with broth that I made myself, and it came out really well. この番号に電話してください。Please call this number. 他の人が電話に出ました。Somebody else picked up. Oh, another cool thing. I got an email, well, two emails really from Duolingo, where they looked at a couple of my reports where I said certain things should have been marked right, and they agreed with me and fixed it. Apparently, they do send notifications. I did not know that, but I think it's very cool. It's nice to know that somebody's actually looking at these things.彼女に電話してあげましたか？ああ、他の仕事はありません。Also, check out, I've got a new Twitter as well. Maybe, specifically dedicated Twitter for this channel. 여기에 이름하고 전화번호 좀 써주세요. ちょっとここにthis mouse is acting weird. ここに名前と電話番号を書いてください。Write down your name and number here. Oh, yes. I've been meaning to create a separate presence for those two. For this. And I finally got around to it today. Yes, thank you for that follow as well. 마리아 씨, 오늘 저녁에 저한테 전화해 주세요. 마리아 상, 요,夕方に私に電話してください。他の電話番号はありますか？ Any other phone numbers? Oh, very cool. What games are you gaming? 저는 지금 전화를 못 받아요. 이마電話に出られません。それも正確のはずだろ。私は今電話に出られません。Cool. I haven't played any of those, but I hear good things. I mean, the only games I really play are like chess, other than that, GeoGuessr and XCOM, and occasionally Tonight We Riot. 誰を探しますか? Who you looking for? この番号にかけましたが、彼女は会社員です。She works at a company. World of Warships, is that World of Warcraft but on water? 何かありますか? Okay, this can mean a lot of things, really. It can mean a thing, as in a thing that needs seeing to, or it can also just mean work. And this causes confusion in particular for North Koreans in the South, because in the North, they say 이롭소요, or 이롭습니다, to mean like 다이조부 desu, I'm fine. But to South Koreans, it sounds like it means I don't have any work. And this confuses people. So, 무슨 일 있습니까? That can mean like, 何かありますか? So, like, is there anything going on? Is there something? Yeah, but it could also mean, is there work? 何か仕事ありますか? Or various other things. Il is one of those words. It just means a whole lot of things. Oh, cool. どうですか? 韓国語は難しくないですよね。どうですか? 韓国語は難しくないですよね。어때요? 한국어가 어렵지 않죠? もしもし、そちらはDuolingoですか? ですね。ですよねって。それも言えますけど。いや、もしもし、そちらは、KB 銀行ですよね。電話番号を変えたましたか? Did you change your number? Did the number change? 寮に変ってください。ちょっとあったよね。I didn't even see ちょっと. Yeah, I mean ちょっと should be there. I just didn't see that it was an option.はい。電話を変わりました。デュオです。そうも言えるけど、it's not the only way. 女性が電話番号を勘違いしました。間違えました。Okay. Now, that's one of various ways you can translate. 잘못했습니다 can mean, like, 間違えました means I made a mistake. Or I confused things. But it can also, it's also just a way of apologizing. Like, 잘못 literally is, like, 잘 is good and 못 means not. So it's like I was unable to do well, or I did wrong. So you can also use that as a way of just sort of apologizing and saying you messed up. 番号をかけ間違えました。누구한테 전화를 아 그렇습니까? 지수さんは家に집에 지수씨 있으니까 그どこしかでも okay, this is weird. I do okay, let me see. Because it should be いますか家にうちに実はいますか実さんはいますか But E is not there. It seems like they might have made a mistake there. Be interesting to see what they're looking for. Okay. Yeah, that's not good because I typed in the exact thing that their word bank did not offer. Did not offer as an option. And it did mark that right. That is apparently what they were looking for. But the E was not there. So you could not get it right.違います。かけ間違えました。Yeah, that's the first time I've seen that. Fortunately, there's the keyboard option. どうしよう。Minor typo. もしもし、そちら、ジョーリンゴですよね。はい。お電話は、言いました。Duo です。いえ、間違えてかけました。 はい、お電話変わりました。どうです。Okay. 2 of 4. ラーメンを選んでください。Oh, that's fitting. ラーメン. Hello, shalom, salut. Yeah, actually, ramyun is a very topical thing because the way I decided to try serving the soup in a different format than usual because I've just felt like a change. So I decided to do it sort of in the style of ramen with just, straight pasta at the bottom of the bowl and then some chicken that I had been cooking separately in butter and the broth and then with some red peppers and stuff on top of that. And then put in the broth. Ça va, et toi? And it's really good. この住所にどう行けばいいですか？この住所に配達してください。Please deliver to this address. 今のところ配達された食べ物しか食べません。うちの毒ボキはOkay, that should have been in the Hall of Fame. Dokboki is like the transliteration, the Japanese translation of dokboki, the Korean rice cakes. But the IME pad decided to look at that and turn it into kanji, and those kanji meant. Let me just show you. Dokuboki. Poisonous erection. Okay, that should end up in the Gohen Kankesokshu, the masterpieces of conversion fails. とても辛いです。Oh, okay. Tteokbokki is okay. They transcribe it differently. I've never actually seen tteokbokki transcribed into Japanese. Tteokbokki. 餃子は何人分注文しましたか？ How many dumplings did you order? No? Moi j'adore les plats piquants. 이 집에 지금 싸고 맛있어요. この店の食べ物は安くて美味しいです。ラーメン、コーヒー、それから、餃子一つ。 そうですか。Ah. Les plats piquants. Spicy food. いい助走が済んだ。Wait a second. All of these are actually potentially correct. One, okay, いい助走がまた is like plain and emphatic. いい助走が済んだ is polite. いい助走 oh wait, oh it's a question. I didn't see that. 済んだ okay, obviously that's it then. この住所はとても遠いです。This address is quite far away. これは有名なレストランでしょ。Oh, okay. And see, this is one of the things that I can never get, that I'm always uncomfortable with in South Korean. That the spacing rules are different, so I would have figured that you would put a space between Jungkook and Chip, Bunchik and Chip, and Chikin and Chip. And they're saying actually the way you do it is you write it all together. Hiking. と肉餃子があります。肉餃子は良くないですか？ Are the meat dumplings not good? Anchuahanika. Oh, yes. Do you not? Oh, okay. Yes, I did get that wrong. I missed the chuahamnika. My brain just said chosumnika. 제게 있어서는 말하기도 읽기도 좀 쉬운데 한자가 있다면 좋겠다고 생각한다. 한자 없이는 읽기가 또 어려워졌어요. 한자 없기에. この店の配達は本当に早いです。This restaurant's deliveries are really fast. Okay, literally the only difference here is that I used a Chinese character to write the 1 and the 2. 住所を間違えて教えました。ごめんなさい。間違えて言いましたとも言えるけど、この住所にどうやって行きますか？fuck. Misconversion. So I can't. Our tteokbokki are very spicy. Waga ie to uchi wa. Okay, I'm gonna hold on a second. I'm gonna switch headphones because these keep cutting out in an annoying way. I'm gonna switch to the ones that I know don't do that. To look into why that is, because it's the same Bluetooth that is connecting to both of them. For some reason, these always have this problem with cutting out. Okay, now we just need to switch audio output. Where's my OBS window? There we go. What's your favorite fruit? Ramen.
여기가 유명한 맛집 맞아요?
有名な美味しい店しょで合ってますか？ちょっと変な。Bit of a weird way of saying that. Cashews are a fruit? I thought they were a nut.
고기만두 안 좋아합니까?
肉餃子は好きじゃないですか？Wait. I don't even see what I did different. Okay, let me see. トッポギ1人分とラーメン2人分を配達してください。トッポギ1人分とラーメン2人分を配達してください。That's identical. I don't even understand what. That doesn't make any sense. That's like literally the exact same thing. I've never heard of droops. Although there is
주소를
a
잘못 말했습니다.
town just
미안합니다.
there's a town called Droop just outside Cardiff in Wales. 住所を間違えていました。ごめんなさい。
요즘은 배달 음식만 먹습니다.
最近は出前料理しか食べません。同じことだろうが。I mean, I don't really. It gets frustrating, though. I do not blame the course creators for this, because there are lots of different ways of saying the identical thing. It is hard to get all of them, and so they're looking for dake tabemasu, and I said shika tabemasen. They mean the same things. Either one, it's that I'm only eating delivered food, takeaways.
우리 집 떡볶이는 아주 맵습니다.
家のトッポギはとても辛いです。What? Wait a second. Oh, fucking hell. That is the exact same thing. It's just this is hiragana and that's kanji. That it's the same word, wagaye. It's identical.
라면, 떡볶이, 그리고 만두 하나 맞습니까?
Wait. Tteokbokki. Oh, now I see. tteokbokki, not tteokbokki. 変な発音だろうが。
여기가 유명한 맛집 맞아요?
ここは有名なおいしい店で合ってますか？
주소를 잘못 말했습니다. 미안합니다.
Oh, interesting. There was somebody, actually, I think you were there for her, who lives in Brittany last night. 住所を間違えて言いました。ごめんなさい。Can't believe they marked me wrong over punctuation. Punctuation has never mattered on Duolingo in my experience
요즘은
before.
배달 음식만 먹습니다.
最近は出前料理だけ食べます。
우리 집 떡볶이는 아주 맵습니다.
我が家のトッポギはとても辛いです。
라면, 떡볶이, 그리고 만두 하나 맞습니까?
Finally, Breton and French. Oh, that sounds very cool. Who was this?
정말 죄송합니다.
本当に申し訳ありません。
네, 다시 말해주세요.
もう一度言って お願いします。
죄송합니다. 짬뽕은 없습니다.
申し訳ありません。ちゃんぽんはありません。Okay. Champong. See, another one. I've never seen.
짬뽕은
Yeah, I've never seen these Korean dishes transcribed in katakana before, so I was just guessing based on the Korean pronunciation. Because it's jampong, jampong in Korean, so I assumed jampong. But instead it's champong.
볶음밥 2그릇하고 만두 하나.
차한이. Ah, chahan. Bokkeumbap is chahan. So. Yeah. Ah, I get it. Chaofan.
탕수육과 볶음밥.
Okay. Finally, one of these I've just sort of. Because I'm having to guess whether they're using the Korean names for these things or whether they have Japanese names for them. Because I've literally never heard Korean food talked about in Japanese. I've heard Japanese food talked about in Japanese, Korean food and English. Korean food talked about in Korean and English. I have never heard Korean food talked about in Japanese before. So I'm just totally guessing here. Well, if you run across them again, let me know. I'd be interested
탕수육을 또
checking them
다시
out.
시켰어요. 탕수육을 또 다시 시켰어요.
Is that right?
탕수육을 또 다시 시켰어요.
Nice. I ordered more 탕수육.
그는 짬뽕만 10인분 주문했어요.
Okay. 彼は Okay. Oh, wow. Actually, I would find that easier than talking about learning Portuguese and Chinese, thinking about it. So, what other language
죄송해요.
topic
오늘 시간이
combinations did they end
없어요.
up with? 申し訳ありません。今日は時間がありません。
짬뽕 말고 자장면 없어요?
짬뽕 じゃなくではなくじゃじゃんけんはないか。Ah, じゃじゃ麺。Okay. That was what I was actually going for initially. Talk about Russian food in Chinese? Okay. Yeah, that seems like a fun game to do. That would be like a cool thing to try. Like the Polyglot conference is coming up. See if people are interested in doing that sometime in like a breakout session.
죄송합니다. 음식을 잘못 보냈습니다.
申し訳ありません。食べ物を間違えて送りました。
네, 음식은 여기 있는 주소로 벌써 보냈어요.
食べ物をここの住所にもう送りました。送りました。
탕수육 1인분과 짜장면 2인분만 보내주세요.
Okay, please send 탕수육 for 1 and jajangmyeon for 2. Oh, dake. I overlooked the man. Oh, cool.
다시 배달해 주세요.
もう一度配達してください。
여보, 점심에 자장면 먹을까요?
朝ごはんにじゃじゃ麺を食べますか？
저는 짬뽕보다 자장면을 더 좋아해요.
모토とは間違いではないけど、なくてもいいだろう。
중국집에 전화해서 탕수육을 시켰어요.
はい。料理の店に電話して炭水を注文しました。
여기는 계란볶음밥만 있습니다.
ここは卵、茶、だけあります。チャーハン。
네, 다시 말해 주세요.
죄송합니다. 짬뽕은 없습니다.
볶음밥 2그릇하고 만두 하나.
と餃子一つ。
짬뽕 말고 자장면 없어요?
죄송합니다. 음식을 잘못 보냈습니다.
I've never actually been to one of the live ones because I only really started doing. Yeah, I only really started participating in this during this whole pandemic, and I'm kind of waiting for it to be considerably safer than it is now before I start traveling again. Because right now, every flight's a fucking super spreader, and I'm getting rather sick of it. 申し訳ありません. It's like I just don't I kind of don't get it because it's like everything we find out, every new piece of information about COVID turns out to make it much worse. It's like it will fuck you up more than we thought before. If you're reading the medical literature, it's like, okay, guess what? Guess what organ system it can wreck now? And everyone's like, and people look at you weird when you say, "Yeah, I'm taking precautions because I really don't want to get this." Oh, cool. What did you talk about? What was your topic? 食べ物を間違えて送りました.
네, 음식은 여기 있는 주소로 벌써 보냈어요.
もう食べ物をここにある住所に送りました.
탕수육 1인분과 짜장면 2인분만 보내주세요.
1人分とジャージャー麺2人分だけ送ってください.
여보, 점심에 자장면 먹을까요?
Oh, very cool. Sounds like a good talk. Is that up on YouTube? あなた、昼にジャージャー麺を食べましょうか.
저는 짬뽕보다 자장면을 더 좋아해요.
ちゃんぽんよりジャージャー麺をもっ好きです.
중국집에 전화해서 탕수육을 시켰어요.
That's the same thing.
여기는 계란볶음밥만 있습니다.
ここは卵、チャーハンだけあります. Oh fuck, typo.
중국집에 전화해서 탕수육을 시켰어요.
여기는 계란볶음밥만 있습니다.
I'm so used to typing arimasen. Well, the fact that you were able to get in front of a bunch of people and talk about that at 17, that's already pretty fucking cool. Let me just say, that is already an impressive thing. That is not easy to do. I mean, that's not something you can that's not something that just anyone can manage. I mean, I had not done much public speaking at all by the time I was like at 17. Like the biggest thing I'd ever done, I mean, I'd done some like public speaking at school and stuff, but other than that, really not a whole lot. Yeah, still, I mean, that's a big thing at 17 to get up in front of, a conference full of adults and talk about a subject like that. I mean,
메뉴.
that's cool. Congratulations.
여자. 블라우스.
받았어요.
I mean, that's pog as hell. 아. Oh, well, I keep up. Pog has pretty broad generational applicability at this point. I mean, it has not been yeeted yet.
다른,
他の
가격,
価格
여기,
ここ
휴대폰.
存在のは
유미는 전화를 안 받아요.
Yumi isn't answering the phone.
전화해요.
電話します
사,
さ
돼지,
豚
배.
お腹お腹
다른 일 없어요.
Oh fuck. Well, it's a typo. They're really arbitrary about what they will count as a typo and what they will say is just wrong. Because that is a total typo. That is just me not remembering that you have to add the that I just hit the button for the yun, and yeah. So, I mean, that's still pronounced Tarun. It's just spelt wrong. It's just misspelled. And on things much worse than that, I've just gotten it right and they've said, yeah, you have a typo in here.
이것 좀 보세요.
전화번호 좀 가르쳐 주세요.
ちょっと電話番号教えてください。Oh, fuck. 番号を教えてくだ
여보,
さい。
전화 왔어요. 전화 좀 받아요.
The phone's ringing. Can you get it? Oh, okay. Always a bit confused. I mean, is these space differences? I did not learn South Korean spacing, so I just sort of guessed that in situations where I would write it together, they probably won't. And it turns out that's not. I would have thought 가르쳐 주세요. Yeah, that would. I mean, that would obviously go together, but apparently it doesn't.
다른 사람 없어요?
他の人いないですか他の人はいませんか저는 전화를 못 받아요. 이마. Of course.
마리아 씨, 오늘 저녁에 저한테 전화해 주세요.
마리아さん、今日の夕方に 私に電話してください。What exactly is 今日の夕方にマリアさん今日の夕方にで私に Oh fuck. See, that was a typo.
여기에 이름하고 전화번호 좀 써주세요.
Okay, hold on a second. Need you to repeat that.
여기에 이름하고 전화번호 좀 써주세요. 여기에 이름하고 전화번호 좀 써주세요. 여기에 이름하고 전화번호 좀 써주세요.
Oh god, it really kind of depends. Like a fair bit in German and Spanish, certainly, and then Japanese and Korean. Russian less, although Russian's a great language to swear in. It's lovely to swear in. It's a good swearing language. And then English is certainly up there as well, and sometimes Italian, and then sometimes Quebecois. I do like Quebecois swearing. It's just so choice. マリアさん、今日の夕方に私に電話してください。ありがち。마리아 씨, 마리아 동무, 오늘 저녁에 저한테 전화해 주시라요.
방금 왜 전화 안 받았어요?
음,たった今、どうも言えるのよ。
다른 일 없어요.
Oh, right. Okay, we're on to the repetitions. Hmm. 못 받아요.
마리아 씨, 오늘 저녁에 저한테 전화해 주세요.
아, 마리아さん、今日の夕方に私に電話してください。Oh, almost did it again. Typo.
방금 왜 전화 안 받았어요?
I didn't need to change the keyboard there. たった今、なぜ電話に出ませんでしたか？電話。Українські лайки? Не лоша. Okay. Going to switch languages now, and then I'm going to take a little break. And then I will be right back, and we will hit the next randomly selected language. Ah, français. Ok, when we get back, on va faire un peu de français. On peut passer que ce qu'on a fait jusqu'ici. Ben. I won't have to change keyboard layouts quite as much. Perfect. Okay, 3 of 4.
El hospital.
Okay, we've leveled up and it is time to pick another language. Mod för rätt rötter än vanligt. Maten är färdig. And let's see what we're doing when we get back. Greek. We're doing Greek when we get back. Ben neredeyse her gün okula giderim. Fun fact. Turkish. Hello, Shakespeare. How you doing? Fun fact, in Spanish, the word for bishop in chess is alfil. And that actually comes from Arabic. Fil. The same word fil as this. Meaning elephant, because the bishop traditionally was to represent elephant units somehow. Similarly, in Russian, the word for bishop is squab, and that also means elephant. Okay. 10:159. Haven't made a huge dent in it, but we're getting there. Okay, gonna do some Chinese now. Nej. Man. Igen. Jo. 5. Ducks are drinking wine. Bamba. Okay, Bambas is ducks. Okay, I have now leveled up. Let's see what the XP situation is now. 10,340 out of 12,500. And as always, viewers can choose my next language for me just with a follow and a $5 to my Patreon. I buy a computer or quack, and here's another example. I like to point these out. For this word for quack sounds vaguely like Hogun and the hok in Hogun in Korean or waku in Japanese, and that appears it is the exact same kind of character. Oh, I see. This is Dikhe Ishai Food, which means do you want food? But yeah, are you hungry? That kind of thing. How are the boys? Cine ta boy. Posso Milao. Pote. When is it? Proteine. Utros. Topulo. In the designated chicken eating area, obviously.
Monsieur.
See.
Livre. Liwe livla.
맞아요.
Yeah.
Yeah. 시. 비소비. 맞아요. 그렇죠. 이대. 고치기.
A. C. Oedden coginio panas. Jacob. Hefed. 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 Hek. 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 Mwalimu.
This is Arabic. And it's from Mu'allim.
Juma ni mwalimu mke.
Oh, thanks to cat sons. Meow and the pictures of the fish. That's they were proud.
Sööpel. Pupu. Yrittävät. Uraista. Omena.
Are in the city center. And it's got some interesting aspects to it.
여자는 어느 나라에 있습니까? 여자는 어느 나라에 있습니까? 여자는 어느 나라에 있습니까?
Countries or living things.
兄の名前は
Perfect. Okay, 3 of 4.
El hospital.
Okay, we've leveled up and it is time to pick another language. Morfar är tröttare än vanligt. Maten är färdig. And let's see what we're doing when we get back. Greek. We're doing Greek when we get back. Ben neredeyse her gün okula giderim. Fun fact. Turkish. Hello, Shakespeare. How you doing? Fun fact, in Spanish, the word... I'm back. And now, on va faire un peu de français pour arriver au niveau légendaire et voir l'application-ci pour reconnaître les expressions québécoises. Prononciation.
Madame.
Froid.
Prête.
Beaucoup.
Sénégal.
Je me sens bien.
Je me sens bien.
J'ai vraiment chaud.
Tu vas avoir chaud?
Tu vas avoir chaud?
Nous avons vraiment chaud.
Everybody's hot. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Okay. I mean, I'm not surprised by this. Like, literally, the number of things they're shutting down. Like, they've asked food banks to shut for the day of the royal funeral. Food banks, like, so, like, I guess so people could kind of share in the death by starving on that day. I mean, it's just amazing. It's like, basically, they've shut down everything that's worthwhile in Britain. Like, the pubs are on Sunday hours and shit. But on the other hand, they haven't shut down the bailiffs. So people are still getting evicted. People are still having their shit seized over unpaid bills and stuff. But you can't go to the food bank to get food because you you know, your fucking disability benefits got cut for no good reason, and you have to wait 6 months before you get them reinstated. I mean, it is just off the hook. C'est chaud, trop chaud aujourd'hui. Je me sens pas bien. Je vais prendre une douche froide. Il a trop chaud.
Je me sens vraiment mal.
Je me sens vraiment mal. J'ai fret et je me sens mal. J'ai besoin d'un café chaud et d'un ami. Yeah, I mean, it's a ridiculous. Because have you ever heard of something called council tax?
Je me sens mal. Mal.
Wait, that was what he said though. It was mal. Bon.
Tu vas avoir très chaud au Brésil.
Be very hot in Brazil. I feel bad. Comment tu te sens? See, one of the things that just absolutely just blows my mind in Britain is landlords don't pay property tax. Tenants pay property tax on the value of property that doesn't even belong to them. You know, it's totally unrelated to how much they can pay, how much money they make, and stuff like that. They are paying a percentage of the value of property that they are unable to turn into cash, and everybody acts like it's normal. And this is how local government is funded, which is why local government is constantly underfunded, because you're getting people with no money to pay on the value of property they can't afford because of the rent that they're paying to the person who owns it in order to pay that person's mortgage more often than not. Tu vas avoir frais tonight. Je suis content, je vais pas avoir fête. Il va faire chaud ce week-end. Tu t'en mal? Yeah. Can't argue with
Je
that.
me sens mal.
It sucks ass. And not in the nice, pleasant way. Hey, that first one sounded like he said mal. Now I'm kind of curious. Now I want to hear it again, and I can't.
De.
Passeport.
Passeport.
Assez. Un peu de.
J'ai soif.
I'm thirsty. Thristy. I'm thristy. I don't even know what that is, but it seems like it should be an adjective. This sounds English. J'ai sommeil, j'ai besoin de dormir dans un bon lit.
Nous avons très faim.
Nous avons très faim.
Avez-vous soif?
Est-ce que tu dors assez? Dire plus. Faim.
Mail.
None of these really. Mal, mille, mal.
Mail.
J'ai faim. Main. Faim.
Dors. Tu manges assez. Wait, okay.
Le
What did I
professeur
type?
parle trop. Je ne peux pas dormir.
now I'm wondering what I typed because I thought I typed mange with an E on the end. J'ai sommeil.
Je n'ai pas sommeil. Sommeil.
Tu ne dors pas. Beaucoup pas. Le prof parle. Oh, je ne peux pas dormir. Je mange assez. Yes, thrifty exists, but thristy. It just sounds like a proper English word.
Parce que.
Okay, that's very southern French there. To pronounce the E at the end of parce. Like, Parisians take the piss out of southerners for saying it that way.
Toilette.
Maison. Château.
Nous sommes fatigués.
Nous sommes fatigués.
Vous êtes malade?
Ah, you sick.
Pourquoi sont-elles malades? Mal. Malade.
Pourquoi êtes-vous stressé?
Pourquoi êtes-vous stressé? Je me sens pas bien. J'ai faim, j'ai soif. Mais je suis fatigué. Je peux aller chez moi, manger et dormir. Et... se sent très mal. Je suis fatigué.
Vous êtes très stressé.
One thing that gets me, okay, I'm using my own diacritics and not the ones they provide, but here it works fine. When we were doing Vietnamese the other day, I was doing the exact same thing and it didn't recognize any of them. I don't get it. On est fatigué.
Il est triste parce que Marie habite loin.
Pourquoi? Elle est stressée. Oh. Triste.
Gai.
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 Et triste. Il est triste parce que Marie habite loin. She has to tell the bees. And I'm sure the bees were broken up about this. Je me sens santé. Oh, good. And that's good that they include vous vous sentez comment? Because that is a sentence structure that is very common in colloquial speech but does not get enough of a look in most French courses that I've ever seen. And yet, just to put the question word at the very end of the sentence like that, or, you know, as a statement with a question on the end, I mean, that's a very common way of saying this in French. So it's nice to see that they are showing that.
Nous
nous sentons tristes. Ils sont tristes. Sors avec des... Sors avec des yaourts. Ils sont à la gare. Go out with your yogurts. They're at the station. Go out with your beds. They're French. Actually, I mean, grammatically, all of these could work. It just depends just how surrealist you want to be. I mean, I want to go out with my yogurts which are at the station, or my French beds. But I'm guessing they're going to be very pedestrian. Say, ami, amusant.
Prends un jus d'orange.
Prends un jus d'orange.
Prends une tasse de café.
Have a cup of coffee.
Je ne dors pas assez.
I don't sleep, enough. Nous nous sentons fatigués parce que nous dormons mal. Nous sommes stressés parce que nous travaillons trop. Et on se sent mal parce qu'on habite dans le capitalisme tard. Et le problème est qu'ils sont stressés et fatigués. Le problème est qu'ils vivent sous le système capitaliste.
Vous dormez beaucoup. Dormir. Dormez.
Sentez bien. Sors avec soir.
Vous êtes fatigué parce que vous ne dormez pas assez.
Il est malade parce qu'il boit. Ah, yeah, trop de. Right, of course. So used to not even pronouncing the d because, like, in Québécois, it would just be trod. There's no vowel in it, so it's just trop de vin.
Parce qu'elle est fatiguée.
Il est malade parce qu'il boit trop de vin.
Plus de. Avec qui?
With who?
École.
Prix.
It reminds me of, okay, there's a pharmacy chain that I forget the name, the English name of it, but the French name of it, it's a Canadian chain, is Pharmaprix. But, and they go by the different names depending on whether they're in Quebec or they're in the rest of Canada. So I go into, I don't remember what I was getting, but I go into one of their locations in Toronto, and I'm looking at the receipt afterwards, and not entirely realizing that it's actually the French name, and so I read it as Pharmaprix. Pharmaprix.
Bois du café.
Bois du café.
Plus de. Plus de.
Elles se sentent mal.
Et ils se sentent mal.
Fais du sport avec tes amis.
Maintenant, Sophie se sent vraiment bien parce qu'elle fait plus de sport, elle mange plus de fruits. Elle boit moins de café et plus de thé. Et ils se sent bien.
Ils se sentent très bien. Sentent. 7. Sentent.
Ils se sentent tristes.
Oh, okay. It's actually hard to distinguish that if you don't have that strongly pronounced southern E. Et plus de sport. Non. Sport, si t'es fatigué, non. Oh, Ali. Maintenant, je bois moins de vin. Elle boit plus que moi.
Vous devez faire plus de sport.
Ils se sont fatigués. Tu dois manger moins du chocolat. Oh, fuck, yes. My fingers often work faster than my brain.
Ils se sentent tristes.
Ah, fuck.
Vous devez faire
I
plus
did
de
hit
sport.
the S, it just didn't. Okay, yes, it can also mean you have to, but it can also mean you should. So that.
Ils se sentent tristes.
Vous devez faire plus de sport.
Je trouvais pas. Comment tu te sens maintenant? Je me suis vraiment mal.
Tu te sens bien?
Tu te sens bien? Ça va ce matin? Well, again, it depends how surrealistic you want to be about this. If you want, you could say, no, I feel bad. Or you could say, no, my name is Antoine. And that just it makes no sense, but it's not grammatically wrong. That's the beauty of language. Il est vraiment chaud, il y a trop de soleil.
Comment tu te sens?
How do you feel? Oh, this is tough. I wonder which one it is.
Pourquoi tu te sens mal?
Je me sens vraiment mal.
Ça s'écoute.
J'ai chaud.
I'm hot.
J'ai vraiment froid aujourd'hui. Je n'aime pas la neige. Je préfère le soleil et l'été. J'aime avoir chaud.
Je me sens très bien. Je me sens très bien.
Tu vas avoir chaud.
You will be hot. Tu vas avoir très chaud au Brésil. Ils ont... Ouais. Tu frettes? Okay. Mange assez? Non, ma femme est brune.
Nous avons sommeil.
Nous avons sommeil.
Les enfants ont faim.
Tu as sommeil?
Tu as sommeil?
Le bébé a sommeil.
J'ai sommeil.
J'ai sommeil. Tu dors assez? Tu as besoin de dormir plus?
Meille. Meille.
Je n'ai pas soif.
Non, tu besoin de dormir?
J'ai faim.
Il veut dormir.
Wants to sleep.
Est-ce que tu dors bien?
Do you sleep well? Je travaille trop, mais je ne dors pas assez. Caliste, tabarnak, capitaliste. Tu as soif? On a très faim. J'ai soif. Parfait. Jump to level 3. Comment tu te sens? Tu as chaud? Tu as... Okay. One is very... Okay, we've got 3 options. We've got one very pedestrian, one poetic, and one that suggests that we're in some sort of race against time thriller. I'm guessing they want tu as chaud, tu as frais, but tu as un ciel, tu as un nuage. Have you got... Do you have a sky? Do you have a clouds? I kind of like that. Or do you have 8 hours or do you have 8 minutes? All of these things could somehow be continuations of the question of how somebody's feeling. They are actually they're all plausible in various contexts.
Pourquoi tu te sens mal?
Pourquoi tu te sens mal? J'ai vraiment fret aujourd'hui. J'aime pas la neige. Je préfère le soleil l'été. J'aime avoir chaud. Et j'aime pas avoir fret.
Tu vas avoir froid?
Tu vas avoir fret. Okay, they accepted the Québécois pronunciation. Well, when Duo lets you jump over levels? Oh, yeah. Well, they do that a lot. I mean, of course, part of it is the answers. You'd really... I mean, and this is one of the things I always hated in language classes, you know, multiple choice questions, where you would have things that were, you know, pragmatically potentially correct, that were grammatically they made perfect sense. They just were different levels of conventionality.
Je me sens vraiment mal.
I feel really bad. God. It's like all of there are a lot more negative sentences than positives in this. Everybody's feeling shitty. Ouais.
Vraiment? Je ne me sens pas mal.
Don't feel bad. Except that she sounds like she does.
Je me sens bien.
Le frais.
Tu te sens mal?
Tu vas avoir chaud?
Vous n'avez pas froid?
Actually, in all of these, and this is one of the things that gets me about Duolingo outside of the stories, where there seems to be a little bit more of the context you need in order to make sense of that, is they really do not distinguish things like, they don't do a good job of distinguishing tu and vous, for example, du and sie, tu, usted, etc. I mean, they give you a sentence with both of them, but the way that they do it does not actually help you at all to develop an understanding of why, in certain situations with certain people, you would use one and not the other. That is definitely something I think they could work on. I mean, and the stories, I have to say, are like the one place where I see where they're real, because it gives you the context. It gives you that narrative structure and context, and that really helps in order to understand more complicated things like that. Because, I mean, it's one thing to just know that, say, the word for computer is ordinateur. It's quite another thing to know that, for example, one of the interesting aspects of tu versus vous in French is that when people, like PhD advisors will generally use vous to address their doctorands, their PhD candidates, but then they will switch over to tu when they actually finish and defend their dissertation and get the degree and everything. Tu as faim? Yeah. Don't. Il y a un ordinateur dans la chambre. You're hungry? There's a computer in the room. Yeah, like, okay, it depends on whether you want to be helpful or just random. All of these could work. Il y a des stylos dans la salle. You're hungry? Well, there are pens in the room.
Le professeur parle.
Le professeur parle trop. Je peux pas dormir. Dormir.
Meille.
On l'a fait déjà. Well, the tendency is there's a lot more do out there. Like, I mean, even Gen X, like, even people my age tend to be a lot more on the page of sort of default do, unless it's like somebody who definitely would have to be Z, or in a context where Z is just sort of a given. I actually tend to be a little bit more formal in that regard with like random people than most native German speakers my age. Like, yeah, like, I would say the default these days, and it also varies where you are. Like, like in Berlin, for example, and like sort of what milieu you're in. Like, if you're in like a housing collective in Liebigstrasse or something like that, chances are everybody's du. In fact, that's one of the things that will often, since it's Germany and everybody just comes up with like sets of rules for things, they will say, okay, this is in this group that we're in, we all just say du. Or, you'll see that at workplaces too. We all say du here. And so that's a thing. But on the other hand, you can sometimes, if you say du to a cop, you can get charged with insulting an officer, which is an actual offense that people like get actual fucking charges for. Meanwhile, they get to insult you, and that's okay. But if you express displeasure with them about it,
Avez-vous soif?
They can do you for it.
Est-ce que tu dors assez?
Inogar.
Vous devez dormir.
Souhait.
Je mange assez.
Les enfants ont sommeil.
Est-ce que tu dors bien?
Yes, indeed, they can do you for it. Yeah, exactly.
Tu as sommeil?
Avez-vous faim?
Okay, we're jumping. Ils sont mal, Julien? Oui, Carac, je me sens mal. Est-ce que tu es un spion? Non. Oui, je me sens pas très bien.
Je me sens vraiment bien.
Je me sens vraiment bien. Ça va ce matin? Non, je m'appelle Antoine.
Vous avez vraiment froid.
Vous avez vraiment frais.
J'ai vraiment froid aujourd'hui. Je n'aime pas la neige. Je préfère le soleil et l'été. J'aime avoir chaud.
J'ai froid.
J'ai vraiment chaud.
Je me sens mal.
And then you also have that in Spanish as well. Like in Spain, practically everybody says tú. I mean, whereas in Latin America, that is very much not the case. I mean, it varies from country to country. Like in a lot of parts of Colombia, for example, they basically nobody says tú. It's all usted or su merced, which is just another way of saying usted. And then like in Chile, in the cities, practically in outside of like customer service and like official context, everybody says tú. But when you get to the countryside, it's all don y doña y usted. Y cómo va usted, cómo está usted hoy, don Héctor. Y weas así. I mean, there is a lot of nuance you have to get used to there. Je me sens content, je ne vais pas avoir fret. Va faire chaud ce week-end.
Tu vas avoir froid.
Ils sont pas mal. Comment tu te sens ce matin? J'habite dans une petite maison. Okay. I mean, again, you can see use cases for both of these sentences as answers to that question. I live in a small house. Oh yeah, I mean, it's an interesting place. Linguistically.
Elle a besoin de dormir.
Actually, thinking about it, Polyglot Gathering, there was a talk, like last year or the year before, I forget, on Rado-Romanic. It's probably on their YouTube channel. It was very interesting. Elle a besoin de dormir. Tu as soif? Non, mais j'ai faim. Est-ce que tu dors assez? Tu as besoin de dormir plus?
Meille.
Encore?
Meille.
Tabarnak. Dormir, dors. J'ai faim.
Oui, je dors assez.
Le bébé a sommeil.
Tu as sommeil?
J'ai sommeil.
Another place is really remarkable linguistic diversity is London. It is basically, I mean, just for sheer numbers of, yes, that's right. You mean on Radio Romantic? Yeah, that's the one. The sheer number of different communities in London and like institutions for those communities, like pubs and things like that, is, I think it may actually be the most ethnically diverse city in the world, and linguistically diverse as well. I mean, you can basically, I mean, there, you can, if you want to and you know where you're going, you just go on the tube. You can speak like Korean for part of the day and then go to the Japanese part of town and go to the Chilean part of town. I mean, it's everything there. I even ran into a Welsh speaker at this private member club, which was like, you never, it's rare enough you run into Welsh speakers in Wales, but to run into one at a private member club in Chelsea. Oh, okay, different one then. Pourquoi est-ce que vous conduisez cette vieille voiture? Ce vieux char? Il n'y a aucune chaise dans la cuisine. Why do you drive this old car? There are no chairs in the kitchen. Parce que ma voiture ne marche pas.
Vous êtes malade?
Vous êtes malade? Ils sont vraiment fatigués.
Vous êtes très stressé.
Vous êtes très stressé.
Laura est riche mais elle travaille trop. Elle est stressée et fatiguée. Elle a besoin de vacances.
Pourquoi sont-elles stressées?
Pourquoi sont-elles stressées?
Je suis fatiguée.
Gai. Gai.
Pourquoi sont-elles tristes?
Yes, that's also a possibility.
Pourquoi sont-elles malades?
Triste.
Il est triste parce que Marie habite loin.
Why are you tired? À cause du capitalisme. Ils sont bien et nous nous sentons mal. Pourquoi est-ce que vous mettez les fruits dans le frigo? Parce que la télévision ne marche pas. I was going to put them in the television, but the television doesn't work. I'll go with what's pedestrian. But, I mean, the language of André Breton, you would hope that Duolingo would have, you know, a little nod to surrealism in it.
Vous ne dormez pas assez.
Vous ne dormez pas assez. Est-ce que vous dormez?
Vous vous sentez mal?
Do you feel bad?
C'est une semaine difficile. Je suis malade parce qu'il fait très froid et maintenant, je ne peux pas travailler parce que je suis malade.
Prends une tasse de café.
Sors avec lui.
Sors avec moi ce soir.
Sors avec lui. Non. Qu'il travaille trop. Right. If you've made it to level 5 of French in Duolingo and you don't know that bonjour means hello, I think that suggests that there's possibly a problem with the lesson plan. J'ai toujours soin. Pourquoi? Diabète?
Plus de. Plus de.
C'est plus pour.
Il se sent triste.
Ils se sont tristes. Ils se sont tristes. Et donc je vois moins de 20. Pas plus. Oui.
Elles se sentent mal.
Elles se sentent mal. Ouais.
Il se sent très bien.
Maintenant, Sophie se sent vraiment bien parce qu'elle fait plus de sport et mange plus de fruits.
Ok.
Fais du sport avec tes amis.
Sont. Ils se sont tristes. Wendley. The thing about plus is that in colloquial speech, where it is not uncommon to actually get rid of ne and just say like j'ai pas faim, I'm not, you know, I'm not hungry, j'ai pas faim instead of je n'ai pas faim, you actually find that that also holds true with ne plus. So when you say j'ai plus faim, that means I'm not hungry anymore. So fais plus de sport could mean don't exercise anymore. Okay, we're legendarying it up now.
Je me sens mal.
I feel bad. So,
J'ai froid.
I'm cold. Très bon.
Je me sens vraiment mal.
Yeah, you sound it. Avoir.
Est-ce que tu te sens mal?
Avoir.
J'ai vraiment chaud.
Sont.
Est-ce que vous avez froid?
Attention, je vais pas avoir fret. À faire chaud ce week-end. Je ne me sens pas mal. On n'a pas fret. Avoir chaud au Brésil. Oh, I see we got another viewer. Hello, other viewer. And let me see. There we go. Au revoir means goodbye. This is the same. These are the same exercises. See, that's another thing they could work on. I mean, the exercises at each level are the exact same content. There's so much more you could do with this as you level up. And it seems like you would want to have, you know, increasing, like, there's so much more to sensations than do you feel good, do you feel bad, do you feel hot, do you feel cold, you know, hungry, thirsty, sleepy. And you could kind of gradually kind of ramp that up.
Avez-vous faim?
Are you hungry? Okay.
Avez-vous soif?
Are you thirsty? Faim.
Tu as faim?
Are you hungry? Dormir.
Nous avons sommeil.
We are sleepy. Sway.
Je dors assez.
I sleep enough.
Les enfants ont sommeil.
Au cru. Je veux dormir. Ils ont très souhait. There we go.
Nous sommes fatigués.
We are tired. Ils sont vraiment fatigués.
Vous êtes malade?
Are you sick? Très stressés.
Pourquoi sont-elles stressées?
Are they stressed out? J'ai chaud et fret. Et je suis malade.
Pourquoi sont-elles tristes?
Why are they sad? Je suis fatigué.
Je suis vraiment triste.
I'm really sad.
Il est triste parce que Marie habite loin.
He is sad because Marie lives far away.
Tu es stressé parce que tu travailles trop.
Or too much. On est fatigué. malade. Il est triste parce que Marie habite loin. Okay, last level of legendarizing in this episode. Sent bien, vous vous sentez comment? Nous sentons bien? Sentons. Est-ce que vous dormiez?
Prends un café.
Have a coffee. So,
Prends un thé.
have a tea. On se sent bien aujourd'hui.
Je ne dors pas assez.
Ne dors pas assez.
Tu ne manges pas assez.
You don't eat enough. Avec lui.
Vous dormez beaucoup.
Sleep a lot.
Parce qu'elle travaille trop.
Because she works too much. Petit. Du café. Okay, I have legendarized up. $23.53. Still solidly in second place, but getting there. I don't know if I'm going to be on in the afternoon. I have this huge translation I'm working on at the moment. That's why I haven't been streaming in the afternoon as much this week. So I've had to catch up on this extremely long and dull and document that is written in really, really bad English. But I'm going to finish that in the next couple of days, and then it will be back to the usual service. And with that, I think I am going to say goodnight. Please remember to follow me on Twitter at LanguageElise. It's at the bottom of the screen there, right next to my logo. And we'll see each other sometime in the next couple of days. I haven't actually. It will depend a little bit on how quickly I finish this translation. But perhaps perhaps Saturday afternoon. We'll see. Have a good night. Thank you for joining me as always, and good luck on that job and the car thing.